Like, you're gonna have to get jumped out of this. We've been in this too long. You know where the body's buried.
All the bodies.
You can ruin me as a person. And then it just, I guess it still wouldn't matter at this point because I was so vulnerable with you for decades. But no, like, we can fuss, scream, holler, fight, do what we need to. As we get older, it gets better. But you know, you also evolve too in different directions, even when you get older. So we're not going to always have the same point of view and perspective, but we are a gang. We are blood. What? You cut your finger and blood brothers in this. Like, if you want to get out of this, you're going to have to take this L. Are you ready to fight me to leave me? I know that sounds terrible, abusive, but the point is, it's so deep that's my family. You don't just stop. You can stop fooling with your family, but it still is your family, right? Like with friendships, I think some friendships, Candice, to go in line with what you're saying, are like that. Like, no, we might have to take a hiatus for a minute, but I love you so much.
We circling back.
We're going to circle back.
You are now entering the Drink and Tell group chat with your hosts, Candice, Twana, Jocelyn, Micky, and Aja. Welcome to the group chat.
Welcome back for episode 2 of the Drink and Tell podcast. I'm Joss, and today we are discussing closer than kin friends, the family that you're born with versus the family that you choose. So we'll kick it off with today's toast. What are we drinking?
Wine, Jesus juice.
Moscato is my go-to. Y'all know that's the only wine I drink. So
I have gotten into reds.
I love reds.
I have really, right now, I really love Prisoner. Have you had Prisoner?
Mm-hmm.
I really like Prisoner. My bestie introduced me and I'm addicted.
So I have been on Mayomi lately, which is funny because I recently read that the alcohol content is really low. That one. Yeah. But it's a full body, like super dry red.
Interesting.
What you drinking, Candice?
Well, speaking of Jesus juice, this is literally my communion juice from Israel.
Oh.
So this is some wine that I got from a monk colony when I went to Israel. So I drink it since the pandemic, since I go to church virtually. I drink it on the first of every month. So since we were doing our drink and tell of our favorite wines, this is my communion juice from Italy.
I was not ready for that.
At all.
Literal Jesus juice. It's that Pisces.
Wait, did you say Italy or Israel?
Israel.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is White Claw. I'm sorry, y'all. That's all I had.
So this week we're starting with a current topic. We've all heard that Jordan Woods and Kylie Jenner recently rekindled, their friendship and went out to lunch. We know that because, was it 4 years ago, Jordan kissed the Kylie sister's man, and that they parted ways after that. This was her best friend. They've been quietly like meeting over the last year and were recently spotted in public. So what do we think about it?
They were very close. Like, they were very close friends. That was her. I mean, okay. Once again, we don't know these people. Okay. This is our assumption or perception.
Let's pretend we do.
Yeah. So based on what we've seen in the media, I mean, they had their own TV show, didn't they?
They were on Snapchat and they had a little thing on Snapchat that was.
I know they had like a TV. They had a TV show, like a Kylie TV show, and Jordan was on the TV show. Like, so that's like her family.
Yeah.
And I think that she was being loyal to her blood family by backing away from that relationship, though she didn't want to. And I think this is coming for full circle. So I get it. And like I said before, I don't know that her older sister, whose baby daddy, her friend, kissed, I don't think that she had a problem with the friendship, but everyone else in the family had a problem with the friendship. So,
well, she, to be fair, okay, because I don't care, she can sue me. Chloe said, because I don't like her no way. Chloe said that
Take it off the table, David. I'm just getting started.
no, I'm saying it was all public. Chloe did, even though she said she didn't care if Jordan and Kylie remained friends, Chloe really did go on this bandwagon of bashing Jordan.
Oh, really?
And I mean, she basically said that, y'all know I'm a huge Twitter person, so I watched it in real time. She tweeted that Jordan was the reason that her family broke up. And everybody was like, no, that's absolutely not the case. Tristan was cheating with any and everybody.
Why do people always want to blame the woman?
And so I think that part of it was, which I really appreciated, was that even if Kylie distanced herself from Jordan, she never participated publicly in what her older sisters were doing. Because remember, they did that whole "don't mess with my man." They were bullying and trolling that girl. And then come to find out, when she did her talk on Red Table, she was drunk and he took advantage of that girl while she was like, that part never for them mattered. That like, this is a young girl who was drunk and intoxicated and was with her friends, and this grown ass man is kissing on her. And like, that for me was the bigger piece. I did see the pictures and was really excited that they were I was excited to know that was not that public picture was the product and fruit of them doing their work behind the scenes.
I think that's really cool. I think
that's the part I was like, we don't need to know.
We don't.
What kind of conversations they had. We don't need to know any of that. And I think that the fact that they had been working on their friendship privately behind the scenes, I think that's just really indicative of how much they actually really love
each other. Yeah.
And one of the things I don't think we talk about enough is friendship breakups. Like,
it happens.
It's a real thing, and it's just as traumatic as breakups and relationships.
Yep.
And so to see them come back as grown women, like you said, Candice, doing the work behind the scenes, we are only seeing a glimpse of the product of that.
Yeah.
It's really cool that their friendship survived that. But when we get down to today's topic, I'm wondering how her family feels about it, what they had to say about it, and what happens when Framily becomes family.
Yeah. I feel like we said, like the work that took place behind the scenes, it had to be a lot to, let's say her siblings are still not cool with that relationship, right? So it had to take a lot, not only for her to mend that friendship with Jordan, but to also navigate the waters with her family as well, right? So just think about how important that relationship must be to her in order for her to do that, right? And so at the end of the day, I feel like that's essentially what, when we talk about, friendship breakups and things like that, a lot of that has to do with how bad do you want to keep this friendship? Like, how important is this friendship to you? What work are you willing to do in order to make sure this lasts, and that we are able to remain friends? So I'm happy for them if that's the place that they want to be in, right? Because this whole podcast,
Sister friends,
around and around, friendships and sisterhood, etc. So
were they like friends for since childhood? Like, they've been friends for a long time.
What about the background of their friendship? It was a childhood friendship.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I can't imagine. I mean, we all have friends that we've had forever. I can't imagine. I mean, you all know my Jewel, so I can't imagine something happening. Well, we've only had one argument our entire friendship, and it happened not long ago, so 6 years ago, and it was hard because I compartmentalize and I check the fuck out. I'm gonna check our outer. I'm like, okay, it's not gonna work. Moving on. Like, I'm gonna check out and I'll put that in its box. And if I need to address it later, I will. But that was, that year, it was almost a year that I didn't talk to her. And we've been friends since we were 15. I know. So I can only imagine the relief she feels to be able to reconnect that friendship.
Yeah.
And it's been like 4 years. Like like you said, you have to mourn when you lose a friend. It's like you're losing a relationship. And that's hard. And especially if that's your person and you want to tell them everything, and you pick up the phone, that's who you want to call. So if their friendship is what I understand my friendships to be, I am happy for them to be able to get back to that, because those are your friends like that. Those are like your sisters. That's your family.
And then on the flip side of that, because we don't know what those conversations were, right? Yeah. But it's very possible that Chloe also chose to be okay with that friendship proceeding because of how important her relationship is to her and her sister. You know what I'm saying? It could have been a situation where Chloe realized her continuing to have like some sort of animosity against her sister if she remained friends, or, fix the relationship with her, that would then cause a rift between her and her sister. So that had to be hard.
I believe that the Kardashians and the Jenners are close. They love each other. We see their stuff, so I'm not going to say they're not close. But I also know that there are some friends that you have that you tell things to that you don't necessarily tell your family. Yep. There's some friends that when your sister getting on your nerves, you can call your homegirl and you know it's not gonna go nowhere. Right. And I think I will say this, and I'll be quiet. The beauty of what I've seen with Kylie and Jordan, even when they were not cool publicly and fell out, was that you never heard them bad each other. You never heard whatever they said come out. And one of the things I hate is and I've seen grown women do this, when that friendship ends, you start telling everything that she told you. You start highlighting her insecurities and all that other stuff. And that lets me know you were never a friend. You know what I'm saying? And that lets me know that you don't have maturity. Because even when our friendships end, you should still be a safe space for the things that I trusted you with when we were cool.
Yeah. Or I treat my friendships like a gang. Candice, the other Candice, we talk about this all the time. Like, you're going to have to get jumped out of this. We've been in this too long. You know where the body's buried.
All the bodies.
You can ruin me as a person. And then it just, I guess it still wouldn't matter at this point, because I was so vulnerable with you for decades. But no, like, we can fuss, scream, holler, fight, do what we need to. As we get older, it gets better. But you also evolve too in different directions, even when you get older. So we're not going to always have the same point of view and perspective, but we are a gang. We are blood. You cut your finger and blood brothers in this. Like, if you want to get out of this, you're going to have to take this L. Are you ready to fight me to leave me? I know that sounds terrible, abusive, but the point is, it's so deep that's my family. You don't just stop. You can stop fooling with your family, but it still is your family, right? Like with friendships, I think some friendships, Candice, to go in line with what you're saying, are like that. Like, no, we might have to take a hiatus for a minute, but I love you so much.
We circling back.
We're going to circle back.
Yeah.
We're going to circle back. Yeah. That's how I deal with it, because anybody I bring into my space, you know so much about me at this point that, not that I'm hiding anything, because we all human, but like, I trusted you with aspects of my good times and bad times that you don't always find that. So don't let something, unless it's severe. But I've never had anybody severely just mess me up. Have I had people say stuff? Hell, I said stuff and had to be like, damn, I was wrong, because we're human. But you also know who down for you regardless. And you might have to just step back for a second. I think this is what has happened in this case with these two.
Yeah, and that's a great segue, because we all have family who may not operate that way. And we have friends who may operate that way, and that gets complicated. Like, I know for me, I come from a very close-knit family. Like, me and my cousins were raised like siblings on both sides. But I found myself in Nashville, Tennessee in college, where I couldn't just drive home. I could only go home 4 times a year. And so friends became family, because those ties were 9 and 7 hours away from me. And so we began to operate like family. Like there's nothing that, my best friend's back home, or like, Rob is my best friend. They become family. He and his wife, Jazz, what up? If they need anything, I'll hop on a flight to Houston in a heartbeat. And that's just kind of how we operate. And I know that while I am very close with my family, it has taken my nuclear family a lot of adjusting to get used to that closeness. Of the godmom of my kids, of Rob and Jazz, the fact that we are so intertwined in each other's lives has been a challenge, because not only is that a foreign concept for friends to be that close, but that's also a part of life they weren't present for, that they don't truly understand. They weren't there when those bonds formed.
Yeah. No, I'm an only child whose cousins were some of my cousins I felt like we were close, I was raised close to, but I have a very interesting family dynamic where, and I think a lot of people can attest, my mama was one of 6. There was a lot of jealousy towards my mom from some of her siblings, for the choices that she made in life, to go to college, her career, and a lot of that, when I came along, got projected onto me. Y'all know my aunt threatened to kill me, so I don't have for whatever reason, I don't have the best relationship, which really hurts, because she's the last surviving daughter of my grandmother. And so sometimes you would think that like I had a very idyllic notion of family as a kid, but I didn't realize that my mom was a buffer for a lot of the foolishness that I was either naive to or she was shielding me from. And it was only until I became an adult, and I mean, unfortunately she passed, that I was able to be like, whoa, like you always been like this? Like I didn't see that. But my mom not being married, I had a family that came from her friendships. So like my Aunt Doris, my mother's best friend, is my aunt because my mama was a great friend, right? So like even when my aunt, my blood aunt, cannot be in my life, like I got a whole slew of aunts and uncles by way of my Aunt Doris because my mother was a best friend, right? And so like there's a part of a lot of us that have had to make these decisions that for our own health and for our own sanity. And I mean, there's the beauty of this group chat. Like I've had to come in there and like unload with y'all about just like, it's hard when you want the people that you share DNA with to be better to you. But there's also the piece of knowing that like, you still don't go without love. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if I have to distance myself from my cousins that are my blood cousins, I don't go without family, right? Like, and I think that there's this, only to, I would say for a detriment, this whole idea growing up that your family is your family, and no matter what, you got to stick beside them, blah, 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 that this current generation just doesn't have, that I had to take from them. That like we used to have this whole what goes on in this house stays in this house. You can scroll on social media and these kids will tell you everything that's going on in their house and why it's not safe, why they don't go to Thanksgiving. And I was like, shoot, like all these years I didn't have to be around so and so and such and such for and endure all of their comments. When I made the decision that like I can be around people who love me and that these are people I trust with my life and they may not be my blood, like that was one of the most freeing decisions for me, because too many of us are just like too many of us are suffocating and suffering because we feel like we got to hold on to these family bonds of people who don't fucking like us.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They don't like us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard being the Beyonce of a family. Ask me how I know.
But
That's
how do
for
you manage
another.
that, Mickey? Because you have a whole crew that is like family.
Boy, we be battling in that crew, man. As you know. No, you know what the crew is like, family, because when I say we are so different, 6 different individuals that have been friends for 23 years, but we treat it like a gang. Trust me, somebody may have hypothetically got cursed out about a trip that we about to take next week about 6 months ago because they was getting on my nerves. Guess what? It stayed in-house. We went about a week because you give a couple of days, and then after that, we're gonna force the issue. You still mad? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to speak to you in that way. I was upset. See, accountability is one. So you're taking on, yes, I did this, but I'm going to say why I did it. I shouldn't have did it this way. And if I had to do it over again, because in the moment, you can't always be your best self. Like, let that shit go. That perfection we in right now, that ain't me. But I love you. I want you to go. I was frustrated because you said these things. You talk it through and you go on because, at the end of the day, if I got to pick up the phone for a life situation or just I need somebody to talk to at night, I'm sick, I'm scared, those are the people that I'm gonna call.
I'm notorious for being closer to my friends and my family. I come from a huge family. There's a lot of dynamics. There's a lot of things that I choose not to be around, and that's my choice because I'm an adult and I can make that choice. I choose to not have my children around because there are certain things I can control, and that's one of them. And so growing up, though I grew up with my cousins, I'm from St. Paul originally, and it's a small city in Minnesota, and the community was very tight. And I have literally 22 first cousins on my dad's side, and we're like a gang, like the man children, because we all rolling down, like we all always riding bikes, like being outside, right?
That's it.
The Goonies,
right? But when we moved to Atlanta, when I left Minnesota, those relationships changed because I wasn't there as much. So coming here and becoming part of a new family of people, which was my swim team family, those were my people. I mean, they're still my people. I was 9 years old. These are still my people. This is my family. I mean, my godson is a child of one of these people that I became friends with when I was 9 years old. Then I have TSU people, I have sorors, I have, you have all these friend groups, but those friends are family to me. That is my family. And I don't think that, I think that it bothers some of my family that I value how much value I put on my friendships. I really don't care, honestly. I mean, anybody that knows me knows that I'm gonna do what I wanna do, unapologetically. And it's not harming them. It's not affecting them.
Right.
It's for me. It's what's best for me in my household. And I think that with friends that become family, it is a safe zone because these people genuinely know you. Your family knows you as, that's my niece, that's my cousin, but they care to know who you are, and they care to know what's going on with you or how they can help you or how they can be there for you. It's very different than blood family. These family members, you all have things in common. You have common goals. You have, your kids, maybe there are commonalities other than just being related. And I think that people get so stuck on, well, we're blood. Well, what else? I mean, like you said, they may not even like you. They may want to be you. They may be jealous of you. Why do you want to be around that? I'd rather be around people that are hyping me up, checking me when I need to be checked, and I need to be checked often. Okay.
I got you on that front though. Since I was 19, homie.
I'm telling you, you got, your people have to know you. Like, things happen and Mickey will say, well, Aja is such and such, but she's not such and such. Like, I'm like, you have to know me to love me. I'm not malicious. I'm not trying to be mean, but sometimes I don't hear myself. And your friends can say, bitch, did you, seriously?
I'm gonna sit on the witness stand and be like, she did not do that, Your Honor, and I'm gonna tell you why she did.
Micky used to look at me and I'd be like, what did I say? And she's like, you don't even hear yourself. But your friends know that about you. Your family may not know that. So it's just about who knows you best. And my friends, in my opinion, know me best and want what's best for me and my household. And that's all that matters to me.
I'll be honest, negotiating those boundaries of family is tough for me because I do care, because, you know, the family is so tight knit and it's so hard to explain the bond that is the friendships I made at Tennessee State.
Mhm.
Like, I know we don't do like, oh, that's Joy, that's my sister. No, bitch, that's my sister. It's just me. I'm her little sister. She didn't have any more sisters, and that's all there is. You can be her friend. You can be her line sister. You can be her soror or whatever. It's a boundary. I don't like when other people call my sister. I don't like when other people call my dad. It does not happen. He doesn't like it either, but he won't correct them. I'll correct
Mhm.
them. And so, like, last Christmas, me and my sister had to have a heart to heart because for whatever reason, it doesn't bother me when people call my mom. Like, I don't seem to notice as often as I notice that someone else is calling my sister, or someone else is calling my dad. I don't play it. I don't like it. And in terms of like my friendships, my sister won't say it in those words, but I can tell that it bothers her when I treat my girlfriends like sisters.
Mm.
So I still struggle with negotiating those boundaries, to be honest.
So that's curious though, because it's a little bit of a double standard there.
It is. I own it. I own it with a straight face.
Okay.
I don't like it.
She's not denying it.
Okay.
And if you are her friend and you call her a sister, I do love you. I do. Hey girls, you know who you are. I love you, but that's my sister. We have the same
Not
face.
yours.
Just call her. It's fine.
The same face.
Literally.
Fine.
So for me, my situation is a little different because one, I have like my mom is the youngest. She was the baby of my grandparents' kids, and then I'm her baby. So my cousins are older. Like they're all older. So like when I was playing around, playing outside, they were teenagers, right? Like they didn't want anything to do with me. So I have two cousins that I grew up that were closer in my age, and then a second cousin who's younger than me who was closer in my age that I kind of hung out with the most. But my true, I'm not even gonna say true, the people who I grew up with the most were not blood cousins, but they're my cousins. And I say that because they were the nieces of my mom's long-term boyfriend. They never got married. If they had gotten married, they would have become my cousins, right? So I'm like, what's the difference, right? So they're my cousins. Like my husband will say sometimes, he'll say something smart, like in terms of, okay, they're not really, no, they are my cousins, right? My blood cousins at times, I feel like used to feel some kind of way. Like at one point, my aunt used to feel some kind of way about me calling them cousin. And I'm like, well, they're just as much as my cousin as your husband's niece. Like, what's the difference? Right? Like, what's the difference? And so I think, mine is a little different in terms of that whole family versus family, because technically they're not blood, but I treat them like they're blood, but they're not friends either. Right. So that's just another perspective to kind of come from in terms of, just the navigating that dynamic, and navigating how that intertwines with, your blood relatives and how they feel about that whole situation. But like when it comes to like friends, like my best friend, we've been best friends since I was in the 7th grade. Like she is my sister, like period, right? And I'm closer to her than I am my blood sisters. And one of those reasons is because, again, I'm the baby. And I didn't grow up with my other sisters. I grew up with her. Right. And so, yeah, it's very interesting to see how that plays out. Not only in childhood, but like going into adulthood too. Because she is the only friend I still have from like childhood or even high school for that matter. Really. And so it's very like we'll say to each other, like we call each other best friend, but essentially like you're my sister, period. Like
Yep.
My mom is her mom is my mom. Like, you know, if something's going down with my family, she's there. If something's going down with her family, I'm going to be there. Like, she is my sister, period. So
You guys are gonna make me go interview my cousins and my family members. So I have a huge family. It was 9 on my mom's side and 16 on my dad's side. So it's first cousins galore, second cousin, third
Jesus.
cousins too, because Granny was having babies in her 20s and all the way up into her 40s. So there's a gap there. But I never asked them how they feel about me being close to my friends, but I also am intentional about touching base. I still have my friend crew from kindergarten. I have my high school crew, my college crew, my work crew, because I developed friendships with some work people that are just as strong. But I also, like, because, you know, what I do for a profession, I have these big gaps off in, you know, the summer months. And so I intentionally do a tour of just touching base with different people, whether it be childhood, family, everybody. So I don't think anyone feels left out in that realm. Also, I've had the same phone number since 2001. Pick it up, friend.
Yeah.
If you want to talk to me. But I also think my family knows that when they see a lot of, I guess, pictures and just who I'm with all the time, it is a lot of the people that I went to college with, just because those bonds kind of just kept going. And we always are in each other's business. If there's a better way of putting it, we just are. Not in a bad way. Like, I told one of my friends the other day, her kid kept making noise. I won't say no name because I ain't gonna put my little godchild on blast.
I already know who it is.
I'm gonna come snatch a knot in your ass if you don't shut up and let your mama finish the conversation. And you know, she said, yeah, Micky gonna come up here and snatch it. Like, she co-signed, and I'm gonna snatch a knot in her child ass because we're trying to gentle parent. So, you know, it won't be a hard knot, but a gentle tap knot. But that's when you know you family, when you on the phone talking crazy to your friend's child because he making noise in the background. But there's also a trust there that she knew I would never hurt her child in a capacity. And it's also one with him, because every time I get on there, is that Micky? Is that Micky? Is that Micky? I'm not your fucking friend. I'm your mom's friend. But then you make him feel bad, and then I got some treat or some shit, so he feels a part of the damn group too.
Lord Jesus.
Do you find it easier to tell your friends the truth and Aja, you touched on this earlier. Do you find it easier to be truthful with your friends about themselves than you do family? I know I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Family is judgy. They're judgy. They'll throw that shit in your face later. They'll hold it over your head later. Like,
well, they don't want to see themselves all the time. They have this revisionist history of how you grew up, how they raised you, or how they treated you. And then you be like, well, no, this is how it looked from my perspective.
Right.
Even with cousins, I had a cousin that literally would not let me get a word out on me just asking, you know, questions and clarity. And I was like, oh, I'm not used to these type of conversations, because when I talk to my friends, like when I'm being serious, my friends will stop and be like, okay, Micky, what is it? No, they'll just keep talking because they're already telling you what you feeling. Well, nigga, how you know what I'm feeling?
Right.
So no, you can't. And so sometimes I'll just be like, you know what, keep the peace. And I'm not even a keep the peace type of person. We know that. But in that moment, it ain't even worth it to me.
Sometimes, but your family, they'll know you better than you know yourself. A lot of times. I mean, I know that my wife, I know everybody knows who my wife is. And Jewel, we may go 6 months without talking to each other. Now, mind you, I've known my wife since birth, since she was born, and Jewel she is my sister. But it doesn't matter if I talk to them today, next year, 6 months from now. They know me better than I know myself. They'll know my intentions before I'll know my intentions. But they'll know because they know me and they cared to know me. Like, sometimes your family doesn't care to get to know you. And that's part of the problem. They just think, oh, we're related. Well, it's more than that. I mean, we may have some type of relationship, but we don't communicate. We're not honest with each other. We're not vulnerable with each other. We're not, you know, and that's sad, but that's the reality. That's my reality.
Yeah.
There's nobody I would trust with my children more than those two humans. And there's hierarchy in friendships. And some friends have some friends have problems. There's sometimes problems within friendships because of a hierarchy in friendships. Jewel and Natalia come first, period. No questions asked. I don't give a fuck who you are. I love you. It's not gonna mean I don't love you any less, But if it comes down between those two and another friend group, I'm sorry. There's no hesitation.
I think also going back to family, sometimes they have a version of you that no longer exists. Like they knew you at a certain point, whether you were a child, a teenager, because I get that a lot. Oh, you was bad, or you were this and you were that. And truth be told, I was bad as hell. I mean, we know this already. Gave Francis fucking hell for good reason though. But you know, it's like, but I'm not that person anymore. I'm 43. I'm a functional adult. Like I did a lot of stuff you wish you could have did.
So your friendships have evolved with you. Like as you've evolved.
Yeah, I've evolved as a person. And when I go back and look at, was I really that bad? Or well, y'all just understand that I was on a whole nother level. Beyonce of family again. I'm telling you, I was in the stratosphere up here. And y'all couldn't quite reach the stratosphere. And I didn't realize what it was until I got to on the outside of it, like, oh, homie, I get what it was. So it's easier to label it something that you think it is because you can't get with it. Got it. Cool. So yeah, I think that happens with family that doesn't typically, blood family that doesn't happen with your friends. Because in college, your friends see you evolve and become an adult. And y'all live together in these close quarters. And you go through things that you didn't do as a child. You're still growing. You don't know. What is it? That frontal cortex isn't fully developed type thing. So there's a lot of things I think developmentally that happen when you're younger. The reason why your relationships are the way they are with your family versus your friendships with your adult friends that aren't blood friends.
Yeah. I had to be really honest a couple of months ago and tell the truth to myself that the only reason why I was communicating and in relationship with some of these people is because we were related. Because if I had the choice and the option, I would not be in.
But see, the thing is, you do have the choice and the option.
And that's what I had to learn and realize is that like I do have the option. Like as far as if you can say you my cousin on Facebook or whatever, that's one thing. But I don't have to be in relationship with you. And I think that was a huge wake up for me. Like, because as an only child, I felt like all of my cousins had to be like, we all had to be close. And I felt like I had this, like I said earlier, I had this very like romanticized version of family. And I've even had to like, and very recently come to terms with how I may be trying to like remanufacture that in how I'm moving now, of like trying to be like hearing people say that like I have to step up in my family to be matriarch or all of those things, and realizing that like I don't necessarily want to do that. Like I don't want to have to be in a position where I am responsible to or for people that I don't necessarily like. And I think it might have been you, Jazz, when I was thinking about hosting a family reunion, and you were like, do you like all of these people that you, and I was like, no. And you were like, well, if you don't even like them, like, why are you getting ready to spend all of this money and time trying to plan a family reunion? And I was like, well, we don't have them anymore. Okay.
Which is so funny, Candice, because there's nothing that I love more than family reunions. Like
right.
When people get together for a family reunion, it is all the way live. And so in talking to you, that excitement just wasn't there when you were talking about it. Like I can remember like going to school and not being able to stay in my seat because I was so excited that when I got home, all of my cousins from Dothan were going to be in my yard playing, and I was going to get to jump and play. That was not the level of joy you had. And I'm gonna let you go down the road.
And I think, and part of that, like Aja said, is because our friends know us better than we know ourselves. Like I've been able to be honest with y'all and with other friends about what I experience in my family. So it's like, wait a minute, like, why are you going to do X, Y, and Z for people that you don't like and they don't like you? And I think the other beauty is that like we also know the balance, right? Even if I'm family, there are certain things that I can say to my friends who have siblings who call me and vent about their siblings and I still know how not to cross a line, right? So like at most what a friend may get from me is, well, you know how your sister is, and that's gonna be it. Like, but I'm not finna go, like, if you call me going in on your sister, you can call me going in on your sister all day. You ain't never gonna hear me go in on your sister, because I know that that's a line that you just don't cross, right?
Unless you ask me for a jab or two, I'm like, I mean,
right.
since you said something, yeah, I see that. But then you got to bring it back and be like, but that's your sister. Y'all gonna work it out.
Sister, right? Like, and I think, I've also had to learn how to negotiate and navigate the being one who is close to family, to a friend who has a solid sibling family and like immediate family core dynamic, because for me that was different. So like, you at my house is mama, like everybody was calling her Mama Deborah, like Miss Deborah, Mama Bimbo, like you were family. I know that sometimes when I would be around other friends who had that same dynamic, I'm getting side eyes from their sisters because they don't know how to navigate that, right? So it's like you're still playing this dance, and it's almost like, you know how you got to be when you go to their house, or when you go to their family reunion. You know how to play the role. Everybody know you, they love you, but you know you take a little back seat until you get to the house and she call you and be like, oh, you saw my damn aunt was up there doing all that, and you like, yeah girl, but I wasn't gonna say nothing. Like and it is the joy, and I'm getting emotional thinking about it, because it's like, these are people who you do life with, who chose you.
Yep.
And you chose them.
Yep.
Right. Like they saw you. Like, and I think for somebody who, as a person who like struggled with a lot of insecurity growing up and feeling, because of my dad not being there and feeling like I was never good enough for all of this, for whatever, like to have people who see me and be like, that's a hip hop.
I fucks with that.
I fucks with her like that. And who when I am like, one of my best friends, Adria, I'll never forget. Shout out to Adria in Memphis. I had to speak in Memphis, thought that these were dessert cookies. So I ate 2 of them and they were edibles. And so in the middle of speaking publicly, my edibles hit and it was a shit show. And so I was with Adria, and I'll never forget, it was a mess. So when we got to her house and the next day she was like, I love you, but I need like 2 weeks. And I remember like I cried and I think I was still a little high. And I was like, please don't end our friendship. I'm so sorry. I'll never do it again. And she looked at me and she was like, it ain't nothing that you could ever do that's gonna make me not want to fuck with you. She was like, but you threw up in my car, so I need 14 days. And so like, it was this idea that like at my worst moment, she's letting me know like there's nothing that you can do that's gonna end what we got. Like there's and I have appreciated that I spend life with people who at my worst moment are like, no, like you're still like, you human just like everybody else. That was some fuck shit that you did and you said.
Right.
Better next time. I love you.
Yeah.
I think the beauty sometimes is when family, blood family, and family can blend. I have to share Frances. Frances is me on steroids. Anybody who comes across Frances always loves her. First thing when I went to Atlanta, where the younger me at? You staying with me? I said, you talking about Asia? She said, yeah, tell Miss Man. I said, hello. Frances is a force to be reckoned with, I promise you. And so a lot of my friends in the last couple of years have lost their mothers. And I've been surrounded by it. It makes me feel, a way. And so Candice, when you talk about that, they'll call my mom and she'll call them and she'll reach out and it brings them some type of peace. And in that moment, any selfish thing about being like, that's my mama. No, dog. They've been knowing Frances since they were little kids. And there's a bond that has happened along the way that she has become something, I don't know, maternal for them. And so that to me makes me smile when I'm far away from a lot of my friends that I grew up with and I hit them up. And the first thing they say is, yeah, Frances came by, bought some food today, checking in on me. And I cry a little bit, but I smile because I'm like, yeah, who brought you life is gone, but you got somebody right now that's in the gap that you trust, that's there for you and can identify. My mom lost her mom and dad a day apart. So at 31, she buried both her mom and dad. Traumatic is, I don't know, not even a big enough word to describe it. So she also is somebody who can identify being in a certain age and losing not one parent, but both. And so I think she brings that calming thing too, but it also, it makes me smile. Like I can be rough on my blood family. Yes, I can, because we know them niggas, they be trifling. Sometimes it is what it is. But I also know with my mom being, ancestry.com proved to me that Frances is my biological mom. That, blood can be good too. And it can seep over into Framily. Aja, mom, Rochelle, she and I share birthday. And so every year she always pops in my mind and she'll always comment on Aja post. She was like my birthday twin. And so it's little stuff like that where there's an overlap in those worlds where there's no jealousy, there's just comfort, there's joy that can be beautiful. And I like those moments more than trying to keep them separate, but I know sometimes you have to keep those worlds separate.
I say this, after my mom passed, and I remember being at my homegirl's house and I was like, who's gonna go bridal shopping with me to get a gown? Like, I'm not gonna have that experience. And I'll never forget, Shalita's mama told me, she said, I don't think you have to worry about being by yourself.
Absolutely not.
Your gown. She was like, because I will be there. And she said, and you have other friends whose mothers will be there. And one of my homegirls, Raquel's mom, told me, she was just like, well, they don't have to call me grandma, but they got a grandma. And I think that like when you can experience a loss, because even not just me, but I've had friends who've lost their father, lost their mom, but when you can experience a loss and like your friends, their family, your friends, one can envelop you, but then your friends' family can envelop you, the ones that are healthy in relationship with them, like that. I think that is something that I think is extremely beautiful and powerful, because it lets you know as a friend, like I've done the right thing one, by staying in relationship with the family that I have, right? And like managing expectations, boundaries, and dynamics, because I think that's also something that we've honored too, is that even with the family, the blood family that we love and the blood family that we stay in relationship with, we're not the same people that we grew up, that we were when we were kids. And so, I mean, hell, even with my mom, I had to put up boundaries and I had to say like, okay, I love you. You can't say that to me.
I need a minute. You can only come over here once every couple weeks.
My grandma, I'm like, grandma, I love you. You can't talk to me like that. Like those were those, and because they loved me, right? That like it was and is dope that they grew with me. Like my Uncle Dean told me about 2 weeks ago, he was like, this you is so cool. He's like, the baby Candice, he was like, I loved you growing up. He was like, but you are cool. Like, and I was like, fuck you. Like we can have very different conversations, right? And I don't feel afraid to say to him, you are wrong when you did this. I don't like when you did this. Like if he tells me something that happened with him and a friend, or something that he brings up, and I've been like, I've been meaning to tell you, when you did this, I wasn't really necessarily feeling that. And I would have never done that before. But we also have a relationship that he can hear me, right? And in hearing me, he knows that if I'm saying something to him, it's not out of a malicious place, and vice versa. If he's saying something to me, I know that it's not out of a malicious place, but it's because these are blood relatives that committed to knowing each other in the evolution that we are now.
It's time for us to help welcome a friend to the group chat to solve her troubles. I'm going to read today's drink and tell. This one is a doozy. Okay, so I learned that a guy I was in a situationship with was on drugs, like drugs. But you can't tell because he hides it well and acts normal other than his temper and homelessness. I stopped dealing with him about a year ago, but I miss him for some reason. I see him all the time in my neighborhood since I'm a homeowner in the neighborhood that he's stationed in. He's employed by the streets. I'm trying to keep a straight face. Let me finish. Hold on. I developed strong feelings for him when we were still in the situationship, and I thought he did too because he told me he loved me. I disconnected from him because we argued all the time, and I often felt like he was using me because he was basically homeless since he has 5 kids and all his income goes to them.
And his drugs.
Clearly.
And I'm trying. Hold on. I'm seeking advice on whether I should listen to the nudge that I have to be the one person that doesn't give up on him. Everyone in his life has pretty much given up on him, which is why he's homeless. I feel connected to him in a way that I can't shake even after a year. It could be because he used to please me sexually in a way that I hadn't experienced before, but I miss our connection. What should I do? Should I try to help him and perhaps he'll get clean and we'll get married or something?
Sis.
Jesus.
Welcome to the group chat because you need one. You
baby. First of all, you need to break that soul tie with that penis because that's all it is. It's the dick.
Bishop man.
The dick has you blinded. He's using you because he's homeless. He don't love you. He loves your bed because he's homeless. He doesn't have any money because other than having 5 kids, he ain't got no job. And he gets high on his own supply.
There's no way that a man who has 5 children, who is old enough to have 5 children, that in the long line of people that it took for him to get here, and in the long line of people that it took for him to from infancy to the birth of that 5th kid, that you are the only person in his life that he can depend on. And if that is the case, then that is the biggest red flag of red flags.
And this isn't the same, just in case this particular person is younger, this isn't the same as working with somebody or not having a lot, whether you lose your job or somebody dies or a crisis happens. Or I'll even bring up addiction if somebody is working through that. I would recommend that you let them work through that, though, before getting deeply in that, because that can be something that can take you through changes. What we are saying, though, is this man right now, what you just laid out to us, has a lot going on. And it doesn't seem anything, I don't know what you have going on. It doesn't seem like it's going to take you where you want to go. It sounds like you want love. That's where I pull from that. You do want love. Mm-hmm. But you are, what do you say, looking for love in all the wrong places.
Here's what I didn't hear. Here's what I didn't hear in that letter. This man did not reach out to you and say, I miss the love we had. You are ruminating in what was a year ago.
Nigga, that's a doctoral word. Say that shit again, Jocelyn.
You are ruminating, friend.
Okay, Dr. Brazil.
Year ago, and probably reimagining what it was. I mean, it was a year ago.
This is the dick.
Probably romanticized what that was. It just leave it alone. He's not tapping on your door. Don't tap on whatever he has in place of a door. Just leave it alone.
Here's what I want. I want women to stop trying to fix shit. Stop it. If he ain't got his shit together from the beginning, sis, ain't shit finna change for you.
It reminds me, and I think I put it in the group chat where it says broken men know who to love but not how to love.
Yep.
broken women know how to love, but not who to love.
Yep.
Mhm.
And it's like you have sat here and you have envisioned a life with the best possible version of him when he has not done anything to show you that the best possible version of him that you have seen in your head can actually
Even exists.
What's
Exactly.
the consensus on this, Jocelyn?
Don't save him. He don't want to be saved.
Don't save him. He don't want to be saved.
Don't.
Moving forward, I'm really excited about this next segment. This is Twana's segment, who seems to be in the group chat the last to know everything.
Stress that again, Jocelyn. Go back to what you just said.
The last to know everything. So, Twana, what do you have for us today?
Okay,
I'm scared.
y'all. Why ain't nobody tell me Serena's pregnant again? Why ain't nobody tell me that?
I'm done.
Why ain't nobody tell me Serena was pregnant again?
Serena,
How is that?
where have you been?
The tennis player.
Yes. What's that?
Serena
but-
popped out at the Met Gala, didn't she?
Yes.
Got a whole Instagram page with a child over there talking about the baby.
Twana, okay, I got a question. So like what do you be doing during the day? Because like when these
Legit.
when these things happen, like they make the news, they make the timelines, like we briefly may or may not mention them in like in our conversations.
It's like you are an entrepreneur. Most of your job is on social media.
Yeah, but here's what I do. Like
It's pop culture.
I do what I need to do on my business pages, and then I'm out. Like I'll do a little bit of scrolling, but not a whole bunch. And when I am
Look.
doing a little bit of scrolling, that type of stuff is not coming up.
Tawana be
The
the
algorithm
one.
is broken.
Look, Tawana
My
be the one.
algorithm is broken.
Algorithm is broken.
Tawana be the one. You know, Apple Computers making phones now.
Literally it's Twana. So here's the thing. There has got to be somebody, and when y'all see this episode, tag them. There's somebody in every group chat that has got to be the last to know.
They'll be so behind.
I can't wait to see who's tagged in these comments so that we can, be in this thing.
Unite. Low people unite. Behind the time people unite.
Yes.
All of the behind the times people, because I want y'all and not only tag them, but I literally want y'all to go back and see the twinkle in her eye when she told us that Serena was pregnant. It twinkled like she was waiting on us to be like,
Mind you, we don't know what she's gonna say. We did not know. We are not aware of why didn't y'all tell me? We found out when y'all found out.
I thought at least
So we're not surprised because
I thought at least one person was gonna be like, oh, she is like,
no, ma'am. No, you didn't think that.
no, you did.
You didn't think that.
No.
So
It was the cutest little thing that when they revealed to her daughter on IG when she was pregnant. It was okay, never mind.
I'm gonna let Aja, it's gonna be you gotta figure out how to fix her algorithm.
I was about to say, I blame Instagram because I follow her on Instagram. I blame Instagram. I ain't see that.
sure, it's Instagram's fault.
It's Instagram's fault.
3
Episode 3.
for our Body Yaddy Yaddy episode, where we will be drinking what?
Twisted Sisters, Black-owned wine,
Black
TSU
woman
alumni.
Yes.
Shout out Ogechi, that's the fam bam.
Yes.
We'll post
Twisted
the
Sisters.
brand on our page. So if you guys want to order and drink with us, support Black-owned businesses. Part of the goal of this is for us to highlight Black-owned liquor companies, wine makers, give a bigger platform, make more awareness around, support the people. We want to support Black-owned businesses. If the wine and the liquor is good, that's a bonus.
Yeah,
And if you are a Black-owned wine and spirits company and you would like for us to feature you, definitely
Send us an email
and tag
DM
us.
us.
Twana, what's the email? Because I don't know it.
drinkandtellpodcast@gmail.com.
It'll be in our bio
Yes.
as well.
All right, so we'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
Peace.